Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. The storms in California are responsible for more deaths. At least 16 people have died now from falling trees, mudslides, and other disasters. California's controversial gun law, modeled after the Texas abortion law, is now in effect. It will now let private citizens in the Golden State to sue gun manufacturers. Raw chicken, a gun inside peanut butter, and disguised drugs. These are just some of the items TSA confiscated from travelers. The agency shared a list of the top 10 most unusual items they found in 2022. At the state capitol, residents are cleaning up after Sunday's storm knocked down trees. Some homes are completely destroyed in the storms.
On Monday, Sacramento residents were cleaning up and surveying the damage caused by toppled giant trees throughout the state capitol. Fallen trees have crushed homes and vehicles.
Saturday night, we were both sleeping and the wind was getting really bad. And first a branch hit our house, and then we got up and we're watching outside the window, and both of the trees here are blowing back and forth, really crazy. So we were debating on whether or not we wanted to stay in the house, and before we could make a decision, both trees fell, one on our house and one on our neighbor's house.
There were some pretty extreme winds through the area. As you can see, pretty big tree got pushed over by the wind. This is one of like many. This is not the only one in the area. Weren't surprised to see trees like this coming down. Here in the wind 2 nights ago, it was pretty aggressive, so yeah.
California was hit with more turbulent weather Sunday as thunderstorms, snow, and damaging winds swept into the northern part of the state.
Part of the roof caved in. It actually fell down on top of one, so he got some scrapes and bruises and a bump on his head, but he's fine. But our house, as you can see, is not fine.
I mean, last year we had really strong storms and then nothing. So I hope it'll end the drought. I think with the snowpack, that'd be really nice, and it'd be a nice change.
According to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, over 60,000 customers were without electricity Sunday evening after gusts of 60 miles per hour knocked trees into power lines. As of Tuesday, that number is down to about 11,000. At least 16 people have lost their lives as a result of violent weather. Governor Gavin Newsom warned that this week's storms could be even more dangerous and urged people to stay home. The National Weather Service warned of a relentless parade of atmospheric rivers, storms capable of dropping staggering amounts of rain and snow. The State Department of Transportation warned motorists to stay off mountain roads after closing a stretch of US 395 in Mono County along the eastern Sierra due to heavy snow, ice, and whiteout conditions.
The severe storms have overwhelmed the state's coastal communities, causing serious flooding, mudslides, and sinkholes. Tens of thousands have been ordered to evacuate.
In Santa Cruz County, evacuation orders were issued for about 32,000 residents living near rain-swollen rivers and creeks.
Well, for us, we've been out of power, just got it back on for only one day to lose it again. We have our generator, but we lose heat, we lose hot water, and so it's like glamping pretty much. As far as day-to-day impact, can't make it to work. It's like a rat trying to get out of a maze, trying to find the different little route to get through. This morning it wasn't happening, so that's a huge impact, not being able to get there at work.
A large mudslide blocked both lanes of southbound Highway 17, a key but windy route into Santa Cruz from the San Francisco Bay Area. Vehicles were turned back at the summit as crews arrived to clean up.
A huge branch harpooned my roof, and I live in a small studio. So I have 2 kitties, and we could have been killed by it with over a ton. So needless to say, very disturbing.
Water levels in the San Lorenzo River, which snakes through the Santa Cruz Mountains, jumped Monday morning. The river covered the neighborhood of Felton Grove with fences, garage doors, and the front doors of homes, all bearing the mark of the flood lines.
It's surprised us before and it surprised us today. It rose very, very fast. And when the alarm bells went for, flood stage, it was rising about 2 feet per hour. And we experienced this on New Year's Eve, so we kind of had our markers for, sort of 22 feet. But it kept on rising, and it did get quite scary. I feel like our house is solid here. We're fortunate that we are elevated, but we have neighbors in the Grove who haven't been so lucky, and it's been really devastating.
According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the San Lorenzo River peaked at nearly 24 feet at 8:45 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah, it's just always shocking to see where things land. And then we all ask, well, whose chairs are these? And you find they belong to somebody, over the other side of the neighborhood. But there's a lot of cleanup to do. This is pretty bad.
Despite the deadly nature of storms, residents remained calm and upbeat.
Like I chose to go for a walk today and count my blessings and see if there is anybody else I can help. So that's how I'm choosing to deal with my tragedy.
A PG&E lineman captured a falling pine tree in the Santa Cruz Mountains due to a mudslide along Highway 9. The lineman was not hurt, but these instances make it unsafe to work. The town of Montecito, next to Santa Barbara, was ordered to evacuate. A 5-year-old boy was swept away, but officials have not declared his death yet. This marks 5 years since the coastal town's deadly mudslide that killed 23 people. And the Los Angeles City Fire Department responded to a traffic collision after 2 cars fell into a sinkhole about 15 feet deep. About 50 firefighters rescued the 2 people trapped.
Where we got to a point of we had to get these folks out of this car, so we went with a high-angle rescue, lowered a rescuer into the side door, opened the door, secured the door, and used a harness strap to secure the first victim and lift both the rescuer and the victim out. Went back in, rescued the second victim, both with minor injuries, and were transported to a local area hospital.
Officials say the storms won't be enough to officially end California's ongoing drought, but they have helped the situation.
A new California law will allow private citizens to sue gun manufacturers and retailers for selling banned firearms. The law went into effect this year.
Private citizens in California can now sue anyone who imports, distributes, manufactures, or sells banned firearms. This includes assault firearms, homemade weapons, ghost guns, or .50 BMP rifles. That's due to a new law, Senate Bill 1327, which took effect on January 1st. Authored by Senator Robert Hertzberg, the law also restricts the sale of firearms to anyone under 21 years old. These restrictions are already enforced in the state, but this new law allows citizens to sue violators for at least $10,000. It creates another layer of limitations for firearms dealers by doubling down on existing gun bans. The bill was modeled after the Texas Heartbeat Act, a law that allows private citizens to sue anyone involved in providing abortions after a doctor has detected a fetal heartbeat. In that law, citizens can file lawsuits against doctors, clinics, or anyone involved in the abortion. Attorney Jim Manley with the Pacific Legal Foundation told the Epoch Times, quote, California explicitly passed this bill, SB 1327, as sort of a response to Texas's policy decision. This is sort of a weird way of restricting certain rights by not involving the state in the process. Manley says the additional layer of restrictions means that even if a judge overturned the state's criminal restrictions on gun laws, private citizens would still be able to enforce them. The Texas abortion rights law was passed before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The California law would be automatically repealed if the Texas abortion rights law is totally invalidated by the United States or Texas Supreme Courts.
At the end of each year, TSA puts out its annual top 10 list of unusual confiscated items throughout the nation. For 2022, Los Angeles International Airport took the #1 spot.
On December 30th, 2022, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, compiled its annual top 10 list of unusual items that have been confiscated during the year. The Los Angeles International Airport took the #1 spot for an incident last October. According to a press release by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, a suspect allegedly attempted to smuggle 12,000 suspected fentanyl pills inside candy wrappers with the intent to board a plane. Other alarming finds included TSA officials finding a gun that was stuffed inside a raw chicken at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport in Florida, and a dismantled firearm was found inside peanut butter jars at the John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. In another instance, back in September, TSA officials noted a, quote, jaw-dropping event from the Washington Dulles International Airport, or IAD, in Virginia. 2 cattle prods used for moving livestock were detected inside a guitar case. Officials also noted that this was not the first cattle prod incident at IAD. Another cattle prod was previously found in a carry-on bag back in May. TSA officials say that last year they recovered 10% more firearms compared to 2021 nationwide. They prevented roughly 6,600 firearms from being taken on board in carry-on bags. Over 88% of those recovered firearms were loaded. In a December 16th statement, TSA Administrator David Pekoski said, "I applaud the work of our transportation security officers who do an excellent job of preventing firearms from getting into the secure area of airports and onboard aircraft." He thanked the TSA for all their hard work.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. Disney is bringing back half marathon races. This comes after a 7-year hiatus. Gas and electric prices are on the rise. One Southern California city may be paying double last year's prices. And Angelenos are preparing a memorial for Hollywood's iconic mountain lion. Tickets sold out in a matter of hours, but the event will also be live streamed. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Lang Zhang. 2 former supervisors from the California Department of Justice have been charged with embezzlement. Attorney General Rob Bonta and Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon made the announcement recently.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta and Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon announced that 2 former supervisors from the California Department of Justice, Eric Bund and James Biscailus, were charged with embezzlement. According to a statement from the DA's office, LA Clear recontracted with Biscailus's company for social media services. The contracts were eventually subcontracted to a consulting firm owned by Bund, resulting in a loss of about $12,500. This was allegedly all under the direction of Bund. Now, Bund is charged with 1 felony count each of grand theft by embezzlement, grand theft by an employee, and conflict of interest. Biscailus is accused of filing a disclosure form that omitted his ownership of the company. An arraignment date has not yet been set for Bund and Biscailus.
Disney will be bringing back half marathons to its parks in California and Florida next year. This comes after a 7-year hiatus. After a 7-year hiatus, Disney officials announced last week they will be bringing back half marathons to its parks in California and Florida starting next year. The Run Disney race, which is part of the park's half marathon weekend, will take place in January 2024. Orlando-based Disney World will also offer races in November of this year and in January, February, and April of 2024. Participants can earn various Disney-themed medals for each race completed. Runners and fans are encouraged to dress in accordance with each race theme. For those unable to make it to either park, Disney plans to offer virtual runs. According to the park's website, registration for races at Walt Disney World in Florida has already sold out, and registration for Disney's California races will not open until mid-February this year. In previous years, the races saw around 30,000 runners. Charity sponsors announced their optimism in their continuing involvement in the events. Historical high natural gas prices have been affecting consumers nationwide. For San Diego residents, the new rates will be more than doubled compared to last year. San Diego Gas and Electric, or SDG&E, announced the new gas and electricity rates that began on January 1st. In a January 3rd statement, SDG&E blamed the hike on ongoing market price increases for gas. The cost per unit of natural gas increased from $2.36 last January to $5.11 this year. SDG&E Vice President of Customer Services Dana Golan says, quote, "We understand the challenges customers are facing as the cost of goods and services across the board continues to increase. While not good news, we want to make sure our customers are prepared for significantly higher winter bills, and more importantly, that there are tools and resources, including financial assistance, available, given the severity of natural gas market conditions." SDG&E officials also say that natural gas is used to generate electricity, so customers can expect to see an increase in those rates too. The company reported that it does not profit from the rise in market costs for natural gas, but has to pass on the costs directly to its customers. Additionally, SDG&E offers a variety of assistance programs, including bill discounts, debt relief, payment plans, and energy efficiency programs. SDG&E says that customers can also take control of their costs by reducing their energy use. Some common examples include using a humidifier, adjusting the thermostat, sealing up leaky windows and doors, and make sure appliances are not wasting energy. Los Angeles plans to hold a memorial for the famous big cat P-22. The event is free to the public, but tickets, which became available today, have all been taken.
A memorial will be held for the Hollywood's cat P-22 on February 4th at the Greek Theater. People who wish to attend in person will need a ticket to enter. Tickets are free of charge. Tickets were available on Ticketmaster, but they sold out quickly by midday. The mountain lion became famous after a series of attacks on pet dogs and roaming urban areas such as Griffith Park. Wildlife experts believe he was born on the Santa Monica Mountains, but later traveled to the Griffith Park area. P-22 was known for crossing two of LA's busiest freeways, the 405 and the 101. Last month, the big cat was captured and euthanized after veterinarians found he had numerous health problems. According to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, P-22's advanced age, combined with chronic, debilitating, life-shortening conditions and the clear need for extensive long-term veterinary intervention, left P-22 with no hope for a positive outcome. The Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County currently has P-22's remains. As for P-22's 2-hour Celebration of Life event, the details are still being finalized, but people can expect musical performances, speakers, dancing, and food.
The New York-based Shen Performing Arts completed 5 shows at the San Francisco War Memorial Opera House. We heard from some of the audience members on what they think about the spiritual themes.
Audience members in San Francisco appreciate Shen Yun conveying the divine aspect of traditional Chinese culture.
I think music is one of the first ways people connect with the divine. So it allows people to reach out and connect in different ways. You don't have to be able to speak somebody's language to be able to understand music and appreciate it.
Amazing. I didn't really know what to expect, but it was very well put together, and just the colors and just everything was just so vibrant and just the orchestra, like also unexpected because I just didn't expect the big orchestra and the big, all of the colors and the video screen, just everything was so cool. So
the singing, the baritone, but I like the theme behind with the words on the screen to understand what he was singing. So I like the whole theology behind it. Everybody's divine, that they come down. There's combinations of original sin. So just how so many different cultures come to the same idea of like beginnings and returns.
But under China's communist government, the ancient culture was nearly lost, and those with spiritual beliefs are persecuted for their faith, as depicted in some of Shen Yun's pieces. Thus, the performance cannot be seen in China today.
It's crazy to think that you can't see things like this in anywhere. You know, you should be able to see things like this anywhere, especially with the culture so strong. It's kind of a shame that they can't experience this, but I'm sure glad that I can experience it. So it was wonderful.
A little bit lucky in that I'm able to see it. I like the stories. I like the different philosophies and the different meditative sort of, again, philosophies. I like that a lot. I have been to China. It's a beautiful country. I do enjoy it a lot. But these performances are special, so I'm appreciative.
I think that there's people that can access excellence through focus, and I think that that's a lot of what you see here, from the musicians to the speakers to the performers on the stage, that there's that focus and that dedication to their ideals.
Shen Yun's mission is to revive 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture on stage through live dance and music. It has 8 equally large companies touring the world simultaneously.
A little bit of peace, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of pleasure. I would say it's very, very easy to watch, and it's very, very meditative at some levels as well.
There's a lot of uninspired people living through the pandemic and all the things we've seen the last few years, and I think that they need inspiration, and I think that this provides that.
I think people need to understand that there is a history. There's such a rich history, and we can learn so much from the stories, and the dance brings it across. You don't need to speak the language. You see it in dance. You see it in the stories, and I think that is so important for today.
NTD News, San Francisco.
Shen Yun will continue its California tour at the UC Berkeley Zellerbach Hall starting this coming Friday for 5 more performances. Ticketing information can be found at shenyun.com/ca. That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.